Now wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that until just the other day.
Like, how are you in this business? And because he created it, right?
Yeah, it was a creation.
Yeah. How do you not retain at least 51% of that?
Well, it's easy. You know, when you're signing deals, you know, a lot of times you're so excited that you're breaking through the door to create something new until, you know, the small lettering in the contract of ownership and the ownership of the name and all that stuff. Sometimes you sacrifice that just to get a play, you know. So Nick Cannon not owning Wildin' Out and the name and the brand, you know, sucks. But I mean, I guess, you know, his talent and his creativity goes wherever he goes. So if he can name it Wildin' Out, he can create something and call it something else.
And I agree.
You know,
I agree.
Yeah.
If you have any advice to give young, aspiring singers, songwriters, what would that be?
What advice? I would just say to any young writers, young aspiring songwriters, is to just do your homework. Make sure you're a student of the game. There've been a lot of greats that have come before us that have set the trail and set a great example for us to follow. Business, creative, all sides. You know, I would just say be passionate. And do your best to control and maintain as much of your work as possible as a publisher, as an owner. You know, try to hold as much as you can, because that's the only thing, that's your equity. That's the only thing that's going to matter in the long run, is how much you own.
Broadway, I think you might chime in here. So, owning one's masters is a thing. And I've always wondered, like, you know, I've been in sessions before where we're in the studio and, you know, they have the session, but I have a copy of that exact same session. A WAV file is a WAV file, so I've never really understood when people were like, well, I have the master. Because, I mean, if you got the session, don't both of y'all have the masters?
Well, ownership of the master and having the masters is two different things. You get what I'm saying? Like, because I'm a writer and producer, I can go in the studio and I can have the tapes. I can actually have the master tapes. But because I'm signed to Atlantic Records, it doesn't mean that I own those masters, even though I feel like I do, because I wrote and produced the records. Depending on what your deal, how your deal is structured, if the record company owns those masters, they're the owner of those masters.
Do you still have a relationship with Atlantic?
No, I don't have it. I don't have a relationship with anybody at Atlantic Records right now. The people. Sylvia Rohn, the lady who signed us at Atlantic, she's at Epic now. She's running shit at Epic, so I don't have any relationships at Atlantic right now. My children do, though. I have a couple talented songwriters and performers.
The children?
Yeah, and they deal with Atlantic a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And runs in the family.
Yeah.
Right. Honest. Is there anything you can think of?
Covered a lot. I'm talking about you covered a lot.
Yeah, like more than
you really don't.
We talked about my childhood albums, right?
Please speak on this.
No.
And then the album covers.
Okay.
How that affected you, because they don't have that anymore.
Yeah, well, when growing up, I'm gonna tell you, man, it's so funny that you mentioned album covers, because the album covers for me as a child were marketing within themselves. You know what I mean? You know, I would, you know, my uncle Junior, rest in peace, he would have the Ohio Players. He had every album. You know, they had album covers, ladies with honey dripping on them. They almost had X-rated covers, and for me as a young male, it was very exciting for me to see Millie Jackson's album cover with her cleavage. And this is me being really young, not knowing anything about anything. I was attracted to those album covers. I was attracted to that stuff, man. You know, there was one album cover that used to scare me, Anita Ward. She had an album cover with just her face, and I remember, this is funny, I remember walking through the living room and her eyes looking like they followed me based on how they shot the album cover. I never told anybody that. But yeah, they used to creep me out. But album covers were essential, man, because as a consumer, everything we loved was on that album cover. The credits, reading the credits and finding out who did what. I mean, that was just, oh my God.
And an album cover could tell you a lot about the artist.
A lot about the artist, man.
You know, we knew what Ohio players was from.
Yeah, we knew it. Yeah, exactly. Album covers meant everything. Album covers meant everything to me. You know, my mother, rest in peace, she always purchased my albums individually aside from hers. I wasn't allowed to touch her records because she bought me my own albums. You know what I'm saying?
And to think about it, the original stand-up comedy used to be
on albums. Yes, man.
That's where I got introduced to Richard Pryor.
We used to have to sneak and listen to Richard Pryor. It was not allowed to listen to Richard Pryor. We had to sneak and listen to Red Fox, and even the lady who was on Sanford and Son with him. What's her name?
I forget her real name, but
Esther. Esther Rose. What's her real name?
It's the Mama Good Time. Aunt Esther, I can't remember her real name.
Aunt Esther on Sanford and Son. Yeah, we used to sneak and listen to that stuff when I was a kid, man. Nowadays, you know, with streaming, I mean,
everything
is accessible and everything is free. They took a great song, something that you spend 2 days working on, 3 days working on. They turned it into 99 cents, man. They turned it into nothing.
And you know, 99 cents for who? Because by the time we get to the artists nowadays, you know,
20%. Every 20,000 sales only equals to 2% of 1 penny for me as a writer. So that's how I feel about streaming. Fuck streaming. Let's go back to making people go buy the shit.
And see, this is what
so I can get my money.
Like seriously, people have been talking about it, but you just put it in math terms, you put it in money terms, and you basically said this is how it affected me.
Man.
And that's what I've been looking for, because you know the documentary is many things. It's enjoying music, nostalgia, you know, talking about the album covers and all of that, but it's also how the industry was sorry to say ruined by new technology.
Oh yeah, streaming destroyed what we are as writers and producers. Streaming, you have to do so much streaming to even equal a decent check. You can't get a decent check unless you've got several million streams. Come on, man. You remember back in the day, if Troop sold 500,000 albums, a million albums, that generated a lot of money, man. That generated a lot of money, man. They took us from real actual sales to likes and streams. They bamboozled us like they got us walking around in masks.
Well, here's the thing. So, back your junior high school days when, you know, the crowd was cheering.
I was Mike in junior high school.
Hey, check this out. That meant nothing because we want to see how many followers you got on Instagram. That's where the game is now.
I saw that coming, but it was with YouTube first, I think. With the subscriptions, you know, I saw that likes were going to be more important than actuality, actual sales, anything actual. I saw that coming, man. And it's just the way that I assumed that it would be, where likes are more valuable than actual physical means, if you want to call it that. You know, people are so satisfied with likes that actual money and actual sales. I mean, I don't know if it means a lot.
Like we have albums, we have tapes, we have CDs. Like I can go to my stores right now and touch my music and play my music.
Yeah.
You're buying a streaming service, and hey, COVID-19, if you don't pay your $9.99 this month, you have no access at that moment.
No.
No, you used to own it. If the internet goes down, you have nothing.
Oh yeah.
It's serious, man. It's people need to really take in consideration how they house their music, because if anything goes wrong, if iTunes or any of these places go out of business, your music is gone.
I think it's next to impossible to make a classic these days. They make hits. They make hits today. With classics, you have something you can go back to.
Yeah.
Once something stops trending, it's old.
Yeah, nowadays,
That's what I'm saying.
Heat Wave will never stop trending in my book.
No.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
they are
The Gap Band will never stop trending.
It's like
You know?
they turned it into disposable goods.
Fast food.
That's exactly. When I put on Stevie Wonder, that's a home cooked meal.
Come on, home cooked
That's
meal.
The greens, the cabbage, the yams.
Home cooked meal.
Yeah.
Do,
When I-
do,
you know,
do, do, do.
Look, hey, there's a couple of these mumble rappers that, the beat is nice and it's like, okay.
Well, they're doing good music.
They're
They're doing good music. Those tracks, the tracks that are happening are really R&B. They're really good tracks, but the substance is here today and gone tomorrow. And that's just the culture that we're in right now. It's gonna take a lot of strong R&B writers, R&B producers alike, to bring what we want back. If we don't like streaming, stop putting your shit up for stream. If you don't want to stream your music, stop uploading it to iTunes. Stop giving it to the streaming company. It's not gonna be available on streaming. You're gonna have to purchase it a certain way, and it's gonna be on vinyl. You're gonna have to go and find you an old record player with a needle. You're gonna have to figure out how to play my next record. Why not?
Or
No.
get it directly from you.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The only way you're gonna get the vinyl is from me.
Well, Prince was on to something in regards to,
Oh, no question. Prince is genius.
You're only gonna get it from me, and that's why he's gonna love the Who You Got. It's not a comparison. It's not a competition. But what I do is I say, this is Prince and his contribution. This is Michael and his contribution.
No question.
Who do you prefer? And most people.
I'm a fan of both.
Exactly.
Both
So,
made me. Both are my dads.
Soundtrack of my life.
Most people say both.
Yeah.
Now,
Prince and Mike made
I
me.
call Prince the musician because he got an album where he wrote, produced.
Well, I mean,
composed.
he's a music god. He's not
Yeah.
just a producer. He's everything.
He did everything. Mike, I call him the entertainer. His productions were big. You know what I'm saying? Everything he did was big, and he would bring in the best and create the best, which I'm cool. I don't care.
That's how you do it. That's
Yeah.
what made Quincy Jones genius.
Man.
He was smart enough to bring in. I've caught myself at times as a producer not being so genius. You want to write and produce. You want to play everything yourself. And when ego gets into your game as a creator like that, you lose because you can call in guys. Like, it's okay for you to do your basic idea, but call in the guy that plays keyboards amazing. Call in Broadway and let Broadway do the beats. Let Broadway do the drums. That's what makes you genius, is knowing how to bring people together to create magic.
That's like cooking with a bunch of.
Keith Sweat was always great at that. Keith Sweat knew how to bring people together. He'd get his band members, and he knew how to make a hit based on who he was around. And I learned that from him hanging around him, man.
He's not the greatest singer, but he makes some bomb.
Come on, he's a stylist.
He makes some bomb.
Come on. Yeah, same thing, man.
Jazz Brown was on a different planet. Like,
Oh yeah, he
you know
was.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was Anunnaki. No
Look,
question.
Didn't know how to play an instrument, but he'd be like, "Hey, bass player.
Does it feel good?
Yeah.
Do it feel good?
Dude, you gotta watch this thing called Tales from the Tour Bus.
Oh wow.
Oh, dude, they talk about Rick James. They talk about Prince. They talk about, George Clinton, Bootsy. Yeah, it's dope.
Wow.
It's dope. And it's told from the guys the members of the band that was on the tour bus. And they
Right.
like, it's hilarious and it's very entertaining.
We can do a tour. We can do a tour bus documentary on damn something.
Oh man, see, something else. Can you think of anything else? Cause I got way more than that.
We talked about, what was we talking about?
He did it.
Yeah, we talked about the records.
Yeah, we talked about the records, played it on. Got it from. Yeah,
We talked about reading the credits.
all of that. We actually talked about
Because that
records
was so
twice.
important, man.
Yeah.
Do you remember pulling out the Jackson Triumph album and looking at who played and who was singing on that shit? Do you remember pulling out the Thriller album when you first got Thriller and saw that Janet and LaToya and all them was singing the backgrounds and shit?
Bro.
David Williams is playing guitar. Like, what the
And how the whole attention span thing comes in. You put that record on, your parents is like, you can't do this. So
Yeah, you can't skip through the record with mom and them in the room. You gotta let it play. So you're listening to the whole album.
And you're sitting back and you're watching the creativeness just with the album covers, man.
You had to appreciate the
All the
artist.
thank yous, all the everything. So it was really, truly an experience that's lost.
Yeah. And I say, man, for music to be so special in people's lives, I hate that music was included in the watered downness of everything else going on in society. Music got caught up and got watered down just like everything else, just like our sensibility and our common sense. Music got watered down right along with it, and I thought music was strong enough to stand in its own lane. But I guess if you make music free, if you tell somebody you can get any song you want for $9 a month, shit, man, it's highway robbery. People are gonna do what's best for them. They don't know that there's a life, that they're supporting lives when they actually purchase your records, not just the song. We come from selling albums, man. 60,000 albums a week.
Right.
30, 45,000 albums a week. Real albums.
Right.
You know?
$20 a pop.
Come on, man. 15. Come on, bro.
In closing, what would you like us to know?
I'm working on my first film. It's called Day Ones. I have 4 episodes up on Roku. If you have Roku on your Fire Sticks, you can go to Roku and look for the Rewind Network. And my company is called Black Box. My channel is called Black Box, BLAQBOX. And I'm using my music for my films. And because I have my own media company, I'm getting ready to release an album called 60s Baby, retro 60s and 50s music. I would just want people to not lose hope in what they love, because the universe responds to how you really feel. The universe responds to what's really going on inside of you. And depending on how steadfast you are and what you believe, anything is possible. We're in some strange times right now. Just hold fast to what you believe in. And if you're a creator, create from the heart. Once it turns into creating for $1, we know what that feels like. You lose interest in creating. You lose a part of yourself because it's about the money now instead of the love of it. I would say to the creators to be in love and stay in love with the creativity. You know what I mean? And that's it.
Perfect.
That good?
That was beautiful.
Okay, nice.